Disclaimer: the following video is pure fan speculation. Nothing I say should be treated as fact unless a post has proven it to be a real thing. Fusionfall Legacy has no set release date of now, while Fusionfall Retro comes out August 1st, and are not connected to the Cartoon Network as they are fan games. Be sure to check out the website for any and all information you may need. With the recent release from the Fusionfall Universe team, people have just been buzzing with anticipation to know as much as they possibly can, while also waiting for Fusionfall Retro's release. Thanks to the opening cutscene, people now know what to expect from Fusionfall Legacy, and how the game differs from Fusionfall Retro. With the addition of multiple new characters, as well as looks at familiar areas, there's a lot to go over in this new video. Luckily for you guys, I consider it my job to help and inform and shed light on hidden details there may be, but not before I have a little fun myself. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but now that that's all out of the way, we can pick apart this video. The video opens with a clear shot of the Sector V Treehouse, which gives you a feel of just how different Legacy is going to be, because with this one image, you can see that the treehouse is not currently hovering in the air, it is now grounded and a part of the neighborhood it's surrounded by. This is due to the intro taking place in the past, before the invasion. We can also see that many design changes have also been applied to the treehouse. At first glance, you might not be able to see these changes, but after taking a closer look, you'll be able to see that the tree itself is shorter and a bit wider when compared to its predecessor. It also seems that this version is taking notes from both the show's concept and concept art from the early Fusionfall versions of the treehouse. As the spiral walkway leading up the tree seems to be from the show's version, the roots growing into the house seems to be from the early concept art of the treehouse. Looking at the shot for a bit longer may make it seem a little familiar to you, and that would be because we've seen this area before, just from a different angle. If you recall the week 27 of the Pick of the Days, you will come across a picture of it taken right in front of the treehouse, which places the treehouse only a couple of feet away from Hero Square. As the scene progresses, we see the Cool Bus from the Kids Next Door series make its debut in Legacy, taking off from the treehouse. In the next shot, we are greeted with the Gazebo Park, which remains relatively unchanged from the last time we've seen it. So we're just gonna jump on over to it and take a look inside Foster's home for imaginary friends for the first time in Legacy. When compared to what we've seen of Foster's from the Cheese Nano mission, we can see that the newer version of the home is brighter, more polished, and well detailed, which only makes sense since Frankie works her butt off to keep everything shiny and clean. While Coco and Wilt walk by, we can see that Jackie Cones is reading up on his Detectin' Ain't Disrespectin', which is also shown off in the picture contained in the Zoo Crew dev blog, which does a great job of showing off his character before we even meet him. We get the feel that he likes to do some detective work, which is a hint for those who already don't know his role in the game. I see what you're doing there, Legacy team. The scene following this one is that of an exciting one, as it's the first time in Fusionfall history we see Megas freely moving and not covered in fusion matter. After calming down from seeing Megas, you might have noticed that the junkyard seems to be in a different location, which is indicated by the buildings in the background. The very highway looking road going through the junkyard seems to be mimicking the show's junkyard from Megas XRL, and from that I'm predicting that the junkyard may be a border, acting as the transition area going into the downtown or city area to suburbia, but that's only what I think. There's no way to know for sure. Soon after Megas lands, we are then shown Mount Mandark, which is a reference to the Dexter's Lab episode, Rushmore Rumble, when Dexter and Mandark both build giant fighting robots out of the head of Mount Rushmore. And if you're familiar with the Fusionfall map locations, you'll be able to tell that this is located either behind or on one of the side of Mandark Industries, which can be indicated by the mountains and the black and red structures surrounding the head, some of which you might even be able to make out from the previous versions of the game. The real question here is the head always going to be in an open state, and will we have to platform up it for missions? As the hovering platform surrounding it may be a hint at that, but then again, I could be reading way much into this, and it could just be there for trailer purposes. Nevertheless, it still does look really amazing, and I'm really impressed. Following this, we see Generator X for the first time in Legacy as he's riding what I can only assume is nowhere in particular, either on his way way or leaving the Providence space we got a small glimpse of in the pick of the days last year. The fact that Rex is in one of his builds may hint at us seeing him use them more in the release of the game. The next shot is of Drew, hashtag best mom in the game, and Fiskerton traversing the ruins of the game that look more lush and jungle-like, with Drew even having to cut her way through the area with her sword, with Fist following closely behind. It only makes sense that we see Drew here, as this is where she resided in the original game, with the exception being that we see her accompanied by Fiskerton and not Zahn, who was here before. Could Fiskerton be taking Zahn's place? There's no way to know for certain, but at this moment in time, it certainly seems that way. Up next is out in front of the Collector, a comic book store that can be found in Pokey Oaks. This is where we find Carl from Johnny Bravo, who seems to be camping out in front of the store, perhaps waiting for the latest issue of the Toonami action comic that he's reading. I assume that Tom's somewhat of a popular character in this world based on his comic book. Good for him. On the back of the comic book, we can see an advertisement for Justice Fruit Pies that was shown off to us in a live stream from last year. Also in the same shot, we can see the Powerpuff Girls' alternate superhero personas, Liberty Bell, Mange, and Harmony Bunny. According to Dogon, in the original game, there was an in-show picture of the three girls in costume here, but the Legacy team felt that it would be way better to draw their own version of the poster for Legacy. We were then shown Ben 10 as he is in his Omniverse version of Forearms, entertaining his fans in what I can only assume is City Station? But more interestingly, the crowd isn't just a sea of randomly generated NPCs, but instead made up of the forum's very own mods, and even a lucky fan who commissioned the artist of the game. Lucky? Everyone wishes they were in your shoes. I even envy you. I could only kill to have a cameo in Fusionfall, but that'll never happen. So all I can do is hope that my coat gets put in the game. Flashing forward, we see a cross section in the downtown area of the game, looking oddly reminiscent of the CN City bumpers from 2014 to 2009. But that's just how it makes me feel. I can't tell if it's that way or not. I can be completely wrong. From this shot, we can see General Scar from Evil Khan Carney, which was a character that was on my wish list of NPCs, so I'm glad to see that he made it in the game. Attempting to attack Scar is Mojo Jojo, which is our first look at him in game since the hologram version we saw him last year. Mojo Jojo is in his very own tank as well that he most likely built himself. I tried looking into this to see if the tank was from any show or his own show, but just came out with nothing. Something to note is that the bus stops in this shop seem to be all advertising the same No Void gun, instead of having some variation with the new bus stop ad or any other bus stops ads we've seen. Also in this very same shot, we can see Father walking home after visiting the grocery store, as well as him who's managing to get some exercise in for the day. Good for him. The next shot is of the Ed boys up to their old shenanigans once again, no doubt coming up with some scam to gain their very own jawbreakers. Being that this takes place before the invasion, the cardboard fortress has not been constructed yet, but it won't stay that way for long, because just soon after, we see Planet Fuse sitting in space waiting to start the invasion on Earth. We're then brought to Dex Labs, which is presumably across from the Mandark Industry building we saw earlier in the video, as that's how it was positioned in the original game. As we can see, Dex Lab is hosting a time travel demonstration today, and everyone is showing up. Characters such as Dee, Double D, Mac, Blue, Blossom, Bubbles, Buttercup, Professor Utonium, Mayor, Number 1, I Am Weasel, a man-bot that's undercover, Susan and Mary Tess, as well as Dexter and Computers, of course, as well as many other characters who are not as important to the story show up as well, as some of the devs are in here, even more forum mods, and even Prince Keymore Bucks himself, but no sign of Allison. Kind of makes me sad. I enjoy Allison. This also marks the first time we get to see the exterior of the time machine before it's hobbled back together in the future. Something else you might have noticed is inside the time machine, it's fully 3D now. You're able to swivel around your character to see them from all angles. And the trailer ends with a bleak and doom looking tech square, which seems to be the very end of the invasion, with Fuse's victory almost guaranteed. What happens next is something we'll just have to wait to find out about in a future update. And yes, The pun was intended. Alright, and with that I've talked about everything I can manage to find in the opening cutscene for Fusionfall Legacy. But hey, I'm only human, so I'm bound to have missed something. So if you find anything that managed to sneak past me, let me know down in the comments of this video. And if it's enough, I'll even make a second video going over those things you guys found. Oh! And for even more Fusionfall Legacy and Fusionfall Retro news, keep it here on the Magical Dealer YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and click the taco bell button to be notified when new videos are posted. Be sure to check out the description for even more cool links to things you might like, such as my very own Discord. You can chat, speculate, and even play games with people who enjoy the same things you enjoy, and even talk to me from time to time. Well, as always, my magical apprentices, I've been your magical dealer. And stay hyped. I've been working on this video for so long. So glad to have it done. Hope you guys enjoyed it.